What is going on YouTube? Welcome to the second video, getting more active on YouTube. If you watched our last video, you would know it was a macro analysis on the weekly time frame. Today, I'm going to tell you all about derivatives. You're going to learn so much, so buckle up, sit down, get that piece of paper. You're going to take some notes. You're going to remember everything I tell you and then forget it in a week. And while I have your attention, hit the like button, subscribe, do all the things to support the YouTube content creators because I'm getting kicked off TikTok, but I still want to teach you. A quick overview on the market because I'm a degenerate and can't avoid it, right? This was the Binance dump, middle of the screen, big red dildo to the downside, consolidation, had a little bit of buy volume today. Looks like we're retesting 27.5 as resistance, aka not looking good, bruv. Not looking good. Today, Barr from the Federal Reserve testified in front of Senate, basically said a whole bunch of nothing sandwich, fancy banker words saying, we'll give them the liquidity, baby. Senate members, again, proving they're demented. They're completely incoherent. They don't understand how anything works. Alas, they're in charge, I guess. Tomorrow, the same guy, Mr. Barr, is going to testify in front of the House. Probably going to be more nothing sandwich. The big economic event for the end of the week is going to be on Friday, where core PCE comes out. And if that's higher than expected, that means inflation is still running hot. So, let's talk about derivatives and stop talking about the market. Essentially, you're trading the underlying asset without actually trading it. So for example, if we're talking about Bitcoin, there's spot Bitcoin where Bitcoin is actually moved, and then there's leveraged Bitcoin where you can trade contracts for Bitcoin. So if you want to buy like 10x leveraged Bitcoin, you're not actually trading spot Bitcoin, you're trading futures contracts for Bitcoin. The reason this is pretty significant is simple. Because this gives us a lot of data to work with, it tells us what the degenerates are doing. So, what we got here is this website here, Coinalyze. Let me, oh, that doesn't make it any bigger. Coinalyze. Coinalyze, great website for analyzing crypto derivatives. And so what I am going to do is try and move this over. There we go. So it defaults to the 1 hour chart. Open interest is the amount of money invested in derivatives contracts at any given time, usually denominated in billions of dollars. So this is the 1 hour chart for Bitcoin, right? We see these pumps, we see these dumps. Over here was that Binance. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to zoom in on the Binance dump. So Binance got sued by the CFTC, as you probably know. I hope you know. And right, we had this price action. The news broke, dumped down to the downside. We saw price go bottom to top 5%. We found that support around 26.5. But your next logical question is, what is this lower graph? If the top chart is price action, the bottom chart should be important too. This is that open interest I was telling you about. So we could see leading into the Binance dump, there was $8.65 billion worth of derivatives contracts. And at the bottom, there's $8.1 billion of derivatives contracts. That means there was $550 million worth of contracts that were liquidated. That means there was what was called a liquidity sweep, and lots of leveraged traders had to close their position. And you're wondering, well, why does that matter? Why does that matter? Also on Coinalyze, they have this liquidations thing. So just to kind of confirm our thesis here, aggregated liquidations, quite a high amount of liquidations on this dump to the downside. What does open interest actually tell us though? Like, how is it useful? So, let me just pan this over for you guys to see. Here's an example. So, price was trading in a very narrow range here, right? On the bottom here is like 26.7, on the top here 27.5, right? Very narrow range. You could probably say it was plus or minus 1%. But this open interest is rising. Open interest is rising. That means people are taking on more leverage, more margin. They're getting into the market. Now, this open interest just tells us the dollar-denominated value in the amount of money entering the market. It does not tell us anything about if they are long, if they are short, or the parity between the two. So this is where another tool comes in. So in this recent pump here, where we saw a nice little wick up on the 1 hour, we saw rising open interest. And so were those shorts? Were they shorting the consolidation? Were they longing the consolidation? One of the tools that we can look at is funding rate. So funding rate is basically a premium So you have a spot asset price, let's say Bitcoin is $10,000, and on a derivative exchange it's trading at $10,500. That means it is overbiased to the upside. That means there is a premium if you want a long, because there is a difference between the spot price and the derivative price of $500. Longs have to pay a premium to shorts. So that means, in theory, every 8 hours, longs pay a percentile premium to shorts. Now, funding rate. So there's two things. This is the price action here, right? The Binance dump. We're just going to talk about this the entire video because it's a great example. We saw this Binance dump. We saw aggregated funding rate. This is basically the premium that longs have to pay. And if this is green, it means there's more longs than shorts because the derivative price is tracking higher than the spot price. And so although we saw price kind of go in like a downward consolidation with that 1% spread, we saw funding rate become increasingly positive. This means there is an increasing premium for people to long. The one underneath of it, aggregated predicted funding rate, is basically the same metric. I wouldn't pay too much attention to it. It just kind of complicates things. It's basically more sensitive to new price action rather than old price action. Aggregated funding rate. So we see dump down, kind of went negative for a bit. People were over shorting. It grew. Premium to long. So we now have a couple of pieces of information. One, open interest was rising on this downward consolidation. Number two, it was bias long. Sorry, quick sip of Coca-Cola. Coke Zero though, because I'm not a diabetic. So this next thing I'm going to show you, first one from Coinalyze, I would recommend following it. The second one is from Binance Futures. I mean, with the recent news, they're probably counter trading us, so what does it matter? Let me set that to night mode, because the light, it burns! So, there is some other, they do include open interest on this website, but I don't like it because it doesn't show a graph. Maybe that's bougie of me, who knows? But the two things that I come here for are top trader long short ratios. So these are like the highest profile people on Binance trading. Honestly, they're probably all CZ clones, who knows? You want to know the long short ratio, and you want to know the long short ratio with the top traders, right? The top traders, the big money, the institutions even maybe, the people who move effing size and deploy capital, they were biased long. So if we look at the top traders, we can see 1400 is when this dump happened. The market was biased long. These top traders were long bias. And even as the sideways consolidation played out, you can see like 47% versus 53%. I rounded a bit there, but this long short bias has been maintained despite the consolidation, the dump that happened on Binance. Although when you look at the long short ratio, the incident happened at 1400, short bias. So this means dumb money was shorting the lows, shorting the consolidation, still short bias. So dumb money, if we hop back over to Coinalyze, were the people who are contributing to this liquidation. Oh, you can't see it. Contributing to this liquidation. So, just like pretty much everything else in the world of finance, if you look at just open interest as a reason to enter a trade, you're going to get liquidated. If you look at funding rate as the sole reason to trade, you're going to get liquidated. If you look at top traders for the sole reason to enter a trade, you're going to get liquidated. Plain and simple. They are tools to add to your toolkit. They should not be used in isolation, but they should help add to your market perception. That being said, if you want access to all of the links that we provide in our community, come join our Discord. We can get you set up. There's like 30 crypto bookmarks, 30 economic bookmarks. It's completely free. We don't want or need your money. Thank you for watching. Ring the bell. Press the buttons. Thank you.